Humans are insane. When humanity first appeared before the Galactic Council, no one expected much. They were hardy enough, adaptable to heat and cold, and physically capable, but hardly remarkable. What stood out most was their history of internal conflict. The Council saw them as a species lacking honor, prone to violent succession wars and political chaos. The Taraxi noticed this weakness immediately. They waited patiently, convinced that humans would eventually tear themselves apart. 27 years after recognition, that spark finally ignited. A brutal human civil war erupted, and the galaxy watched in horror as humans unleashed unimaginable violence upon their own kind. Part 2 out now. Humans Are Insane Part 2. As humanity bled itself dry, the Taraxi made their move. Millions of soldiers and fleets surged into human space, conquering world after world with terrifying speed. Entire planets fell in days, and the death toll climbed into the millions. Other species looked away, unwilling to intervene, some even aiding the Taraxi in exchange for promises of future territory. Humanity seemed doomed. But instead of collapsing, something impossible happened. The human factions, who had slaughtered each other only months before, united almost overnight. Old grudges vanished, former enemies embraced as brothers. The Taraxi advance, once unstoppable, ground to a sudden halt. Humanity had found a common enemy, and that made them terrifying. Part 3 out now. Humans Are Insane Part. 3 to 8 months after their unification, humans held firm. The Taraxi threw everything they had at the human lines, but every assault broke against defenses that only grew stronger. Then, without warning, humanity counterattacked. Their offensives were brutal, relentless, and shockingly effective. Territory reclaimed by humans was never lost again. They dug in with a ferocity the galaxy had never seen. After 2 years of war, the unthinkable occurred. The Taraxi were being pushed back. Their media insisted it was strategic, but everyone knew the truth. The Taraxi were losing. Humanity, once on the brink of extinction, was now fighting with a terrifying clarity of purpose. Part 4 out now. Humans Are Insane Part. 6 years into the war, the Council assumed humanity would stop once their territory was restored. They were wrong. Humans wanted more than safety. They wanted justice, vengeance, and an end to the Taraxi threat forever. In desperation, the Council called for peace talks. To everyone's surprise, humanity agreed. Negotiations, the humans were calm, rational, and respectful, except toward the Taraxi, whom they refused to acknowledge. Everything seemed stable until the Taraxi demanded reimbursement for territory still held by human forces. The room fell silent. The human delegation left, promising an answer within the hour. When they returned, the human leader appeared on screen, emotion unreadable. Then the galaxy learned what true human rage looked like. Part 5 out now.
Humans Are Insane, Part 5. The human leader smiled as the Taraxi ambassador demanded answers. A soldier burst into the chamber. Human ships were moving. The screen split, revealing the Taraxi homeworld surrounded by the entire human armada. Before anyone could react, humanity opened fire. In seconds, the Taraxi civilization, thousands of years old, was reduced to ash. Billions died without understanding why. Silence consumed the room. Then the human leader spoke. 16 billion. Humans had died in the war. Trading 10 billion Taraxi for 16 billion humans is a fair compromise, he said coldly. When the Council accused humanity of madness and declared eternal war, the human leader simply smiled wider. Good, he said. I was hoping you'd say that. Part 6 out now.
Humans Are Insane. Final 14 days have passed since the Taraxi ceased to exist. No treaty, no surrender, just extinction. The Council declared war on humanity. But 4 member races immediately defected, ashamed of their earlier inaction and unwilling to fight humans, who had been pushed to desperation. For the first time in centuries, the Council was at war with itself. Humanity had shattered millennia of stability in just 34 years. As I sit beside my human friend, preparing for battle, he grins and nudges me, joking about second thoughts. I grin back. Humans are unpredictable, terrifying, and utterly insane, but I wouldn't want anyone else at my side.
Part 1 of 6. My husband Tom and I have been no contact with most of his family for 3 years. In that time, I had twin boys, and suddenly my MIL wants back in. The reason we cut them off goes back to Tom's ex, Talia. I'm Indian American, Tom is white, and his family is very small-town traditional. Talia was basically their golden girl, the daughter my MIL always wanted. Tom and I met in college and clicked instantly. I didn't even like him romantically at first, but MIL always acted like I stole him. Talia stayed close to his family and made her dislike for me obvious. I stayed polite until the weddings changed everything. Next part in a little while. Part 2 of 6. We had 2 weddings, and my parents paid for both. The dress code was simple: no white, no wedding colors, and absolutely no red, since red is a bridal color in my culture. At the Indian ceremony, Talia wore an eggshell dress, basically white, which already had my aunties whispering. But at the American ceremony, she showed up in a floor-length apple red gown with a thigh slit, a bridesmaid dress, completely against the rules. Tom and my SIL told her to change, and she returned in a green dress, but the damage was done. My family saw everything, and the whispers only grew louder. Part 3 out tomorrow or later today. Subscribe to get notified when out. Part 3 of 6. Because my aunties saw her stunt, Talia spent the entire wedding being stared at, whispered about, and side-eyed. She cried to my MIL, who stormed over to me and told me to keep your kind in line. I snapped. I told her Talia knew the rules, knew the cultural meaning of red, and chose to disrespect me anyway. If my family was gossiping, that was on Talia. Tom and my SIL backed me up. MIL left with Talia before dessert. The next day, Talia posted online claiming I exiled her because I was jealous. She left out the part where she tried to upstage a bride, twice. Like and subscribe for P4 coming tomorrow, and follow my TikTok.
I posted back, explaining exactly what she did and why it was inappropriate. I tagged my mill and said this was the last straw. If I was now her DIL, she needed to keep Talia away from family events. I didn't care if they still shopped or got spa days together, but holidays and gatherings were off limits. Talia deleted her post. Miel agreed to the compromise, until 3 years ago, when Talia showed up to my Thanksgiving with a pie and a fake smile. She said Emile invited her, and made a dig about my ethnic food. I slammed the door in her face and went straight to Mill. P5 out now. I told Mill she could leave with Talia. She froze. Ethel tried to defend her, but Tom shut it down. He told them they'd lost access to him, and any extension of him, because they chose Talia over their own family. They left, and we haven't spoken since. Last week, I got a text from an unknown number. It was MIL. She saw a picture of my twins and wanted to reconcile. She promised to keep Talia away this time, but her Facebook shows they still see each other constantly. I told her I knew BS when I smelled it. Part 6 out now. Final part, he told Tom about the message and asked if he missed them. He shrugged, said life has been easier without his mom's drama, but now I'm getting messages from Bills, their wives, and FIL begging for a second chance. Mill always wanted to be a grandma, and part of me feels guilty, but you can't undo nearly a decade of disrespect with a single text, and Talia is still clearly in the picture. So I told Emil, you made your choice. Now I'm wondering. Aita.
I'm 28, my wife is 26, and we just got married last Wednesday. The ceremony was perfect, and she had one rule for every guest: no white clothing. The reception was going great until I saw her rush to the bathroom with her face in her hands. I followed her, and when she finally let me in, she was sitting on the floor crying, mascara everywhere. She told me she saw our 6-year-old nephew wearing white jeans and a white bow tie and said it ruined her day. I tried calming her down, reminding her he's a kid and didn't know any better. She eventually fixed her makeup and went back out. I thought that was the end of it. But it was only the beginning. Part 2. About an hour later, my sister, the boy's mom, pulled me aside, furious. She said my wife told her that she and her son needed to leave the wedding unless she had a change of clothes for him. My sister thought it was a joke. It wasn't. I confronted my wife, and she doubled down, saying the rule applied to everyone, even a child. She said she didn't want him ruining her photos. I told her if she kicked out my family, I'd leave too. She started crying again, saying it was her day and she deserved perfection. I snapped and told her she was being selfish and insecure if she felt threatened by a 6-year-old. She left early and has been staying with her mom since. Now her family says I owe her an apology, but I honestly don't think I'm wrong.
For implying my wife, 28, eats too much by saying she might have parasites? I'm posting on a throwaway because my wife uses Reddit a lot, especially this sub. I know the title sounds bad. You're never supposed to comment on a woman's eating habits, but I'm genuinely worried something is medically wrong. My wife eats like a wolf and never gains weight. She also says her stomach hurts when she's hungry, like actual pain. Today alone she ate 3 eggs, 12 20 mini hash browns, juice and a smoothie, 4 sausages, a small steak, half a poutine, 3 cake pops, another juice box, 6 chicken strips, half a shrimp platter, 8 crab legs, 2 bowls of ramen, 2 small cheesecakes, hot cocoa, a salad with chicken, 3 bowls of veggies, then 10 nuggets, a McChicken, another ramen, a chocolate bar, and a soda. And she's still 140 pounds. Part 2 out now. For implying my wife, 28, eats too much by saying she might have parasites? I'm not judging her or calling her fat. She's not. I'm worried because I don't think it's normal to eat that much and barely gain weight. When I told her nobody can eat that much and not gain weight, something's wrong. She took it as me calling her a fatty. That wasn't my intention at all. She's only gained maybe 25 pounds in all the years I've known her. And most of that was from medication. I apologized for hurting her feelings, but I told her I'm not sorry for being concerned. Now she's upset, and I'm wondering if I'm actually the asshole for bringing it up, or if she misunderstood everything. AITA for no longer initiating sex with my girlfriend? My girlfriend and I have been together a year, and things have always been great. We barely argue, and our sex life has always been amazing, even though it naturally slowed down as work got busier. The other night, I realized we hadn't had sex in about a week, so I tried to initiate. She said she was tired, but usually that still leads to us fooling around. So I started to finger her. She orgasmed, and I thought we were about to have sex, but she repeated that she was tired. I stopped immediately. A few minutes later, she started crying, saying she felt bad for not initiating more, and hated that one kept trying after she said she was tired. Hearing that crushed me. I apologized right away because I realized I should have listened the first time. Part 2 out now. Alta for no longer initiating sex with my girlfriend? Part 2. After that night, I completely stopped initiating anything sexual. I didn't touch her the same way, didn't bring up sex, didn't even let my hands wander near her. I felt ashamed, like I'd crossed a boundary without meaning to. She eventually noticed and asked why. I told her that moment ruined my confidence. I never want her to think I'm pressuring her or only using her for sex. She started crying again and left the house. Now I feel stuck. I love her, but I genuinely don't know how to get my confidence back without making her uncomfortable. I'm terrified she thinks my hesitation means one only cared about sex, when really I'm scared of hurting her again. Ada
for losing my temper at Sil after she ruined the meal I made. I was plating the food when I realized I forgot the Parmesan. With my back turned, I heard Ashley say she'd help bring the dishes. I told her no, to stay seated. Seconds later, a loud crash. I already knew. I turned around and saw hours of handmade ravioli splattered across the floor. Ashley just shrugged and said, "It's okay, it's just some pasta, I'll buy more." I snapped. I called her a stupid brat who ruined the entire dinner because she never listens. She burst into tears and I told her to leave. Our friends defended me, helped clean up, and we ordered pizza. But after they left, his family blew up our phones, calling me a spoiled brat who made their baby cry. Now I feel awful and can't stop wondering if I went too far. Ida for losing my temper at SIL after she ruined the meal I made. My Sil Ashley is a lot. She does whatever she wants, ignores rules, and acts like she's better than everyone. Her favorite excuse is I'm the baby, and my husband just shrugs because she's the youngest. I'm the youngest in my family too, and I don't act like that, but I've stayed polite for his sake. Today was the first time since 2019 that my husband and I got to see our friends in person. I made handmade ravioli for everyone, hours of work. Friends brought wine and snacks, and everything felt perfect. Then Ashley just let herself in. My husband had mentioned the gathering, and she thought she was invited. I told him to ask her to leave, but he said it would humiliate her, so I reluctantly let her stay. Part 2 out now. Alta for walking out of the bridal salon when I found out my friends were making fun of me behind my back. Part 1. I'm 23 and have 2 close friends, Gabby and Shelly. We were college roommates, but Gabby and Shelly have always had the closest bond. Shelly's getting married, Gabby is her maid of honor, and I'm one of the bridesmaids. Over the weekend, I went with Shelly to look at wedding dresses. Gaby was supposed to come but got called into work. Now, while Shelly was trying on gowns, she asked me to take photos on her phone to send to her mom, and Gaby, as I was getting the camera ready, a text from Gaby popped up, and I accidentally saw a screenshot of my Instagram. And both of them were making fun of my face and outfit. Didn't feel playful at all, part 2 out now. Ida for walking out of the bridal salon when I found out my friends were making fun of me behind my back. Part 2. Curiosity got the best of me, so I searched my name in their chat. There were tons of photos of me, selfies, pictures my boyfriend posted, even baby photos, all torn apart. They mocked how I talked, ate, wore my hair. It went back at least a year. I left the store in tears. When Shelly called later, she yelled at me for looking at her messages and said it was all in good fun. She said I only got hurt because I chose to read it. Gabby said I invaded privacy and hurt Shelly by walking out. My boyfriend and mom think I did the right thing, but now I'm stuck wondering if I was wrong for leaving after seeing how they really talk about me.
Am I the asshole for letting my husband tell his son about our pregnancy? My husband 40M and I 35F have been trying for a baby for 2 years. I was eventually told I had hormonal fertility issues and my doctor recommended a procedure and medication because they suspected I wasn't ovulating at all. We were basically told it probably wouldn't happen naturally. After months of trying, I gave up. I stopped the meds, stopped the appointments, and we started preparing for IVF because it felt like our only option. Then 3 weeks ago, I found out I'm pregnant. My husband was absolutely over the moon. He cried when I told him, and it was such an emotional moment for both of us. The complicated part is he has a 23-year-old son. He's in the military, and he and his wife went through a miscarriage about 6 months ago. Because of that, I suggested we wait until the second trimester to tell him, just to give him more time to heal. But my husband was so excited that he really wanted to share the news. When he told his son just said, "I have to go," and hanged up. My husband was really hurt. Later, my 17-year-old stepdaughter told him he probably should have waited a little longer, considering everything her brother has been through. But my mother-in-law said that regardless, this is still a happy moment and his son should be happy for his dad. And honestly, I kind of agree for her for once.